I'm here with designer and artist Judy Belcher of Fire Mountain Gems and Beads. And Judy's our polymer clay girl. She always brings us some really great projects to work on with polymer clay.
Thanks.
And today is just as good.
Yeah, we're going to be making a necklace, and we're going to incorporate something in it that's not generally used with polymer clay. It's more of a paper craft item, but it gives the clay a really good stone look.
And it's a great necklace. I love all those beads that we're going to be making.
Thanks. Very geometric.
Yes, very geometric.
Okay, we're going to incorporate embossing powder. And that's what's usually used when you raise the letters on paper.
I've never heard of embossing paper being used with polymer clay.
I know, it's fun. It makes a good stone look. And so all you do is just sprinkle the embossing powder on the translucent clay.
Now, how much of it?
Just enough to coat it, but I've conditioned this. This is translucent clay that I've conditioned. And all conditioning means is rolling it through the pasta machine or kneading it by hand till it's soft and pliable.
So you have to condition it first.
Right.
And then pour the embossing
Forgot that step.
Okay.
So all you want is just enough to just coat the surface. If you incorporate too much embossing powder in clay, it gets darker and darker. But if you get too much in it, it can ruin the integrity of the clay.
So
and you want your beads
just
to be
enough.
strong. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so then we're just going to pick it up, and here's a tip to incorporating it in. If you just make a little sandwich, we're just going to pinch the edges and make it like a little sandwich. And then we're going to bring it over to the pasta machine and roll it through, and then you'll fold it and roll it and fold it and roll it several times until it ends up looking like this. And there's all our colors.
Okay, so just a few times through, and it just kind of incorporates that color
probably
in it.
10 times through the pasta machine.
Okay.
And it will end up being fully blended in.
Perfect.
Okay, these I'm going to turn into logs, and that's what we're going to do our Millefiori cane work.
So you've done 4 different colors. Okay.
Now, this is going to be the base of our bead. So I wanted to have an interesting back to the beads, and so I've got black clay, but because this is translucent, I want a buffer in between. So I've mixed up some off-white clay, and so I'm going to stack that on top, and then add our embossed sheet.
Perfect.
And then we're going to trim away the excess, but you want to reserve that because we're going to do something neat with that later.
Never wasted.
That's right. Now, I wanted an interesting stone look to the front, but I wanted something interesting on the back too. So I'm just going to use regular 60 grit sandpaper.
Okay.
And I will pick these up and place it right on the sandpaper, and then take another piece, and it will texture both the front and the back at the same time.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Time saver.
That's right. Okay. Now, with that extra black and off-white that we have, I'm going to push this
Now,
up
what
a
are you
little bit.
working on? Which surface are you working on?
These are just ordinary ceramic tiles that you get at a hardware store.
Okay, so that's just a good surface that doesn't stick to.
Right.
It's all pretty good.
Right.
Okay.
And something that your blade won't go through either.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Okay, so we've got our stack, but I want to thin out the stripe a little bit, so I'm going to adjust my pasta machine to a medium setting.
Okay.
And we'll roll that through the pasta machine, and we get a nice piece like this, and then I want to cut it and stack it.
Oh, so it blends it even more.
Right. Well, we want to end up with a striped stack.
Okay.
So if you cut it and stack it one more time, you'll end up with a striped stack that looks like this. Then we want to take 6 slices of that, and they can be really thin slices. I'm going to lean up and look down at it.
How thin about?
About 1/8 of an inch.
Okay.
And then we will line them all up together. There we go. And then you want to roll it with an acrylic rod.
So it becomes one piece.
And then when you roll that through the pasta machine a couple more times, you end up with a very thin
So you roll it by hand first.
Just to adhere them together,
and
then roll it through the pasta machine. And you want to make sure you put it in so that the stripes are going the long way. So you want to lengthen the stripes, not widen them. Now we're going to make our first cane. So we're going to lay the logs that we made before into the different colors, and then slice off some of it, and then you just roll it right up so that it surrounds the cane and gives it a nice, interesting edge. And then we'll just trim that off.
So it only has to go around it once.
That's right. And so then we end up, if we wrap each of them, it looks like this.
Yeah, let's slide this one.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so now we've got our 3 canes, but I wanted them in 3 different sizes to decorate the top sheet.
Okay.
And so all you do is cut the canes into 3 sections. And then to reduce the canes, all you do is roll it on your work surface and continue rolling, and you'll end up with 3 sizes that look like this.
Perfect.
Then you just take very thin little slices, and we're going to decorate that top sheet that we made. This is where our beads are going to be. So then you'll just take, randomly.
So you just do it with your finger,
yeah,
and it'll
you just pick
stick
them
to
up and randomly, because it's raw clay to raw clay, they'll stick right together.
Perfect.
Okay?
Love that.
And then all we do, let's move this one
So
up.
when do we bake it and all that stuff?
We've got
It's
one more
coming up?
step.
Oh,
yeah,
good.
because I didn't really like the fact that you could see the striping in there.
Yeah.
And so I've just cut that original sheet just into some interesting shapes. Rectangular, you could do other shapes. But I didn't like the fact that you could see that. So I took more of that striped sheet that we made, and you just carefully wrap the bead. So I'm just going to wrap it all the way around. It just gives an interesting element to the side.
It really does. And it looks so finished.
Yeah.
It looks completely
like that.
finished. I love that.
Plus the back is textured, so even the back of the bracelet
So
is
every single
interesting.
angle looks great.
Right. And so now all we do is take a needle tool.
Ooh, that's the part I always forget.
Yeah, you want to put the hole. Yeah, you want to put the hole in. You could always drill it after it's baked, but I like to.
Why when you can do it when you're supposed to?
Then it goes in the oven.
Okay.
275 degrees for 30 minutes, and there's our finished beads.
Right.
You can tell the color shifts just slightly in the oven, and that's the translucent clay and that embossing powder coming out because of the heat.
Now we're going to put
it together. So I'm using black rubber cording, and you just put it right through the hole. Then I'm using O-rings to act as spacer beads. So I like the way that looks, and I wanted them to be spaced out just a little bit. And then we're just going to finish off with a crimping clasp. And so you just put that right on the end. There we go. Now I'm going to have to switch hands. And using chain nose pliers, you just carefully line it up and give it a pinch on both sides.
Perfect.
And that's it. And there's our finished necklace.
At the finished project. Look at how cool that is. I loved your use of all the rings in the center as spacers.
Yeah.
Looks gorgeous.
It looks nice with the rubber cording.
You know what I love is that you brought along with you some other ideas. So once you've got all those beads made, you can make them into lots of different shapes and lots of different things. Like we're looking at the leaf design.
Yeah, bracelets or earrings. A leaf shape or circles, squares.
Perfect. Love it. Thank you so much,
You're
Judy.
welcome.
You always make this so simple.
Yeah,
That's what I love about it.
It is. Fun to experiment.
Well, next up is Katie's beading lesson. We'll be right back.